Hi, everybody, and welcome to Analytical English. I'm Karen.
And I'm Wesley.
Today is November 15th. We're about halfway through the month, and we're on page 47. Today we're going to have our first grammar lesson of the month, and we're going to be talking about adverbs and adverbial phrases today.
好，今天我们呢继续谈文法第8章副词。
Okay, and let's look at our first example. Maybe that can tell us something about what's going to come. I'll just give the example. It's, he is the very man that came here yesterday. And that's about the same as, he is the same man that came here yesterday. And if you want to be even more emphatic, you can say, he is the very same man that came here yesterday.
好，那我们从这3个例句里面，我们可以学我们的文法啊。那其实学文法很重要的就是你要从例句里面去学啊，最好就是背例句。好，那这3个例句呢，各位发现它都啊，这有2个例句都有一个字叫做 very 啊，所以我们在这里讲的是 very 这个字的用法。就 very 这个字呢，它常常是当副词用来修饰形容词啊，但 very 也可以当形容词用来修饰名词。
And this is unusual because we don't say this is a very table.
Yeah 啊，但是我们不会直接随便就把它放在名词前面来修饰它，所以 very 当形容词修饰名词的时候呢，它的用法跟它的意义都不一样，跟平常不一样。它当用法，它的意义是正式那一个啊，它是强调用法。所以强调用法就是你这个 very 可以把它拿掉，不会有问题。那放进去就是强调，就是这个，不是别的，就是这个。
I think the origin of this word is truth.
I think so, yeah.
Like veritas in Latin.
Yeah.
And this is truly the man. It's this same guy.
Yeah, 那个 verify 那个就是证实，那个 ver 应该是 truth 的意思啊。所以呢 very 啊，在这样的用法之后的时候呢，它通常放在定冠词的后面，因为你要强调就是这一个，所以它是特定，它不是说随便一个。
You could not use an indefinite article here.
Yeah, 你要强调用法，不会用那个就是不定冠词，你不会说啊 ，this is a very man that 那个没有这种说法。
Because we are being very, very 明确 about it. Please just listen to the 3 sentences again and get a feeling for the rhythm and the kind of feeling that the sentence gives you. It means it's exactly him. We may have been arguing about whether that guy would ever turn up, whether I would ever see him. Oh, but I did see him. This is the very man that came here yesterday. He is the same man that came here yesterday. He is the very same man that came here yesterday. That means there was probably some doubt about it somewhere.
Yeah 啊，那各位不然我们注意到，刚刚 Karen 老师念作 He is the same man， 2个都有重音。可是呢，当他念成the very same man 的时候呢，几个字都有重音。The very same man 啊，都有这个重音啊。那所以呢，同时我们在这例子里面，各位大概也发现到另外一个现象，就是在这样的句型里面，我们后面接关系代名词子句，也就是形容词子句的时候呢，那关系代名词用的都是 that 啊 he's the very same man that came here， 不是说 who， 也不是用 whom， 也不是用 which， 是用 that， 所以这是另外一个要注意的。所以你把这个例句背起来之后，你就背会了。首先very 前面有 the， 然后你知道语气上是很强的 the very same man 或者 the very man that 什么什么，后面还接一个 that， 这是你学到第3点。
That's from the grammar books.
Yep 啊，
But,
这是文法上的，但是呢
yeah, you can hear something coming. I think who is fine. That is better, but who works okay for me. He is the very same man who came here yesterday. There's nothing wrong with that. I would prefer that. That is better. But there's nothing wrong with who. He is the very man who came here yesterday. He is the same man who came here yesterday. It's not as good, but you will hear it. He is the very same man who came here yesterday. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion, as a native speaker.
啊，所以呢，在文法上面是这样规定哈，但是呢，这个其实用 who 也可以哈。
Yeah, that is much better.
Yeah, that 比较好，但是用 who 也不能说错哈。你会听到有的 native speaker 他会这样用，他会用 who。Yeah.
Okay, we're going to move on now to number 2, unless you have something to add to that.
No.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the difference between little and a little, and there's a very big difference.
Yeah, 那基本上有不定冠词 a little 就是有一点点，但是 little 少了一个 a 的更少了，比有一点点更少，所以是几乎没有。你可以这样去记，少了一个 a 的，那就是几乎没有了。
Right.
不多很少，那意思其实就几乎没有。
For example, the patient's condition is little better than it was yesterday. That means that you thought he was going to be much better today. 看不出任何差别. It's pretty much the same as yesterday. So listen again. There is no here. The patient's condition is little better than yesterday. Or the patient's condition is little better than it was yesterday.
所以这个 病人他的状况 conditions 他的状况啊 is little better 啊，是没有好多少，几乎就是没什么好，没有什么好转的意思啊，叫做 is little better 啊。那它比的是什么 than it was？ 为什么是 it 呢？因为它比的是昨天的 condition 啊，它比的不是这个病人，比的是他的 condition， 在文法上面是这样子啊，所以呢，这个地方是是 is little better than it was yesterday 啊，就是 than his condition was yesterday.
Now, the meta message here. First of all, let's find out what meta message means. That means 它真正的要讲的意思就是弦外之音。That means the message beyond the actual words that he's saying. The meta message means what I really want to communicate. The meta message here is if you had some great hopes for that new treatment that he was going to improve really fast, you'd better not hope too much. Because we've noticed that with this new treatment, I don't see any change. I bet this treatment isn't working at all. So the meta message is, don't expect him to improve. I don't think this treatment is really useful.
所以换句话说呢，这个背后的感觉就是你不要太乐观啊。我们新换的这个治疗方法，其实看起来没有比较好啊，换了一个药，看起来没有比较好。
Excuse me. This is in big contrast to letter B, where we're going to use the indefinite article a little. Here's our example. The patient's condition is a little better today.
今天有比较好一点哦。A little 就是有一点点啊，所以感觉起来是 quite hopeful 啊，有希望咯啊，有比较好转一点的，不用太担心。
And your word 乐观 is exactly the difference between these two. The first one is pretty pessimistic. The second one sounds quite optimistic.
好，所以 a little 是肯定的，虽然说它不多，但它至少有一点啊，那所以是感觉起来是比较乐观的。但是如果是 little better 没有 a 的话，那就表示没好多少，所以不要太乐观。
Yeah, don't get your hopes up too high. Don't get your hopes up too high. 不要太期待它会怎么样。Don't get your hopes up too high. Or just don't get your hopes up. That means that you should 不要奢望它会怎样。All right, C is a special usage of little. We're going to put it in front of a verb like know, think, dream, expect, or realize. All of these are a kind of 感官动词. They're a kind of state that we feel in our head. So we know something, we think something. It's not a real action. It's just a kind of way that we feel inside. 是一种认知第一种动词，可是其实没有什么动作。So we might say, I little expected that you would lie to me. And this means that 我想都没想到 I little expected that you would lie to me.
好，所以这个用法呢，这个感觉起来比较文绉绉一点，比较正式一点啊。就是 little 这个字呢，它可以来修饰动词，这时候 little 是副词，直接修饰动词。那它常常修饰的就是这几个动词啊 ，know think。Dream, expect, realize 这些字，那这个时候它的意思就是怎么样？就是一点也不的意思啊。那例如说这个句子I little expected， 就是我一点也没想到，一点也没有料到that you would lie to me 就是 I lie to me， 就是你居然会对我说谎。这里面感觉到是很失望那种感觉。
Right. So originally the speaker had really, really a high level of trust in the listener.I believed that you would never, ever tell me something that was not the truth.
Yeah.
But in this case, I found that you actually lied to me, and I am just totally shocked.
很失望，很震惊那种感觉我完全我没有想到你会骗我这种感觉
There is another way to express it, and it is also very literary, 也是文绉绉的. Little did I expect that you would lie to me. Now, this one's a bit different.Because it usually happens in a narrative. So I'm getting you ready for a kind of 转折, something that's going to happen now that we really didn't imagine, we didn't think would happen. So we're telling a story, but little did I expect, 后面发生一件没有预期到的事, that you would lie to me.
所以这种句型呢，常常是在一个 narrative 一个叙述里面那通常是表示一个转折那这时候就会说例如说前面讲说那个他说怎样怎样，但是呢 little did I expect that 什么什么什么这样子。
That's right. So it sounds very dramatic. It's part of a narrative, so we don't use it in usual conversation. We might write it into a story. When we read aloud, you'll hear it aloud, but normally we won't use it in conversation.
Yeah, 这个句型呢，我以前大概提过哈，我在一首歌里面啊，《The Rhythm of the Rain》里面，我记得那个时候呢，那个英文不好，可是呢很想唱这条歌，我就去查字典。可查出来之后，这句话我就看不懂。我说什么叫做？因为我以为 little， 我想说这个后面应该有个逗点嘛 ，little 大概是人吧。所以，可是说 little， 然后呢，它的歌词是 But little does she know that when she left that day， 好，那 little does she know， 那我在想说，如果 little 是人的话，我就对 little 说 little does she know， 好像很奇怪，就我问 little， 他知不知道？我问你，他知不知道？我觉得 doesn't make sense。好，那这个问题其实啊，在我脑袋里面卡了很久很久很久啊。那每次想到这个啊 ，But little does she， 我在想 little 是谁？可是而且前后文没有谈到任何一个人叫 little 啊。是后来啊，到了这个在学校上课的时候，学生们学到文法才搞了半天，这个 little 是这样来的。
You know, that's a good example about how learning actually does not occur in a linear fashion. 不是线性的学习。That means you hear something and it doesn't quite make sense and you haven't resolved it, but it's still kind of 卡在你的头脑里面。It's there somewhere. And then one day, somebody explains something that you didn't think was related to this. And finally you make the connection. Oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah.
That's the way a lot of learning happens. So when you're learning it at the time, you don't think it's a big deal. You're not that interested. And something may be also left unresolved.
Yeah.
And then someday, something makes the whole thing make sense. And I just had this experience, a similar experience with travel. Because when we were traveling recently, I went to Mongolia and Siberia. When I was in Mongolia, we were in the countryside and we were looking how people did things maybe 100 or 200 years ago. And my feeling at the time was that was so primitive. My gosh, they weren't very advanced. And I didn't even want to look at it so much because I thought, what's the point of this? Because it's so 落后, it's so behind the times and things. But what happens is later on, I'll read something about Mongolia. I'll read something about something unrelated. And I'll suddenly remember that. I go, oh, they did that and other people do it this way. And then I'll be really happy I saw that thing that at the time I thought was, that was just so behind the times.
Yeah, 好，所以我觉得这个最少对我来讲，这个教训就是很多东西你当时不懂没关系，先学起来，先记起来，或者有问题先把它记起来，
先存起来
哈。那不要说这个没用，这个没用，这个没用，这个没用，通通都不学啊。你只要这东西你觉得有点兴趣或者跟你学的人有关，你通通把它累积起来，然后有些事情不懂，以后就会懂了。所以有的时候我们问一些问老师或问大人，小时候问大人说这个怎样为什么？大人会说你小时候你长大就懂了啊。老师可能会说你以后就懂了。他有的时候真的不是敷衍你的，他是现在跟你讲你会糊里糊涂的，那反而说你时间到了先学起来，时间到了你就突然之间懂了，那个时候懂那个印象会更深。
I had a similar experience just this morning because I was reading a poem. It was a poem by Du Fu, actually.
Wow.
And I remembered when I was reading Du Fu, and I think, so much is about war, and it's kind of difficult, doesn't relate to my life. But now that I've traveled more, I've been to China, a number of places in China. I read the poem, even though it was really long. It really moved me.
Wow.
I thought everything is described so 细腻, and it gives you the feeling of the hopelessness of war and things. It hit me completely differently. So I remembered when I was struggling to try and get through the poem and appreciate it. But now it hit me immediately.
Yeah, 所以这个学习是很奇妙的事情啊，很多事情呢，事后你突然间恍然大悟的时候，哇，那感觉非常的快乐。
Totally different.
Yeah.
Okay, so little did I expect that you would lie to me. Little did she know. What was the rest?
Little does she know that when she left that day,
okay.
Along with her, she took my heart.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good example. All right, we have a couple more things to look at here in part 3. No longer ...
这表示不在的意思。
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Not ... any longer, not ... anymore. And our first example is Henry no longer lives here.
Henry 不再住在这里了。那这个通常告诉我们说，他以前住这里，但现在不住在这里了。好，那这还要注意，就是 no longer 不可以拆开来，你直接放在一起。你要拆开来的话，就必须要变成 not 什么什么什么any longer， 因为以前我们小时候背 not any 等于 no 了这很多时候可以这样去学 not any 等于 no。那在这里 no longer 不可以拆，但是 not 什么什么 any 可以拆。
For example, Henry does not live here any longer, or Henry doesn't live here any longer. Normally, we would use the contraction. One more time. Henry doesn't live here any longer.
意思也是一样哈 ，doesn't 就是 does not， 然后呢 live here 先讲出来，然后最后再加 any longer。Or
Henry does not or doesn't live here anymore. Henry doesn't live here anymore.
啊，这个 anymore 也是一样啊，它跟 any longer 在这里意思很像啊，所以你可以说 not 什么什么什么 any longer or not 什么什么 anymore.
Now, 我们也可以倒装这个句子。And we're going to put no longer at the beginning, but please remember this is very literary. I would not use it in conversation under normal circumstances. You may be able to use it in writing sometime, but in general, just use it for passive understanding. So when you see it, you won't think that's really weird. You may see it in writing. You probably won't hear it very often. No longer does Henry live here. It is both literary and very emphatic.
啊，那这个句子呢很强调，因为你把 no longer 放到句首了，句首开头的这个句子呢，尤其用否定的字开头的句子都很强。事实上它强到什么程度呢？强到后面那个主词跟动词要倒装。那各位发现了，没有倒装啊，倒装了，因为它是用助动词跑出来跟主词倒装。does 在 Henry 的前面，各位发现前面三个例句都是Henry does not, does not, does not， 但在这里呢 does 跑到 Henry 的前面了，因为它否定词开始这个句子，所以后面的主词跟动词要倒装。但是一般动词其实没有力量直接跟主词换位置，主词是很大的，一般动词力量不够，所以一般动词要跟主词倒装的话怎么办？一般动词要借助动词啊，所以这个时候 does 跑出来了啊，所以呢才会变成 no longer does Henry live here。All
right, and this will be similar to other sentences with a very strong negative adverb. So, for example, never would I say such a thing.
哦，我绝对不会说这种话的。Yeah.
Okay. Our next example is, I will no longer eat at this restaurant. The food is awful. Now, this is okay, but it is also a little bit too formal and literary. I'll tell you the way we usually say it when we're done with these examples. So this one is, I will no longer eat at this restaurant. It's quite emphatic. And even more emphatic is, no longer will I eat at this restaurant. The food is awful.
那这两个句子呢，都有一点太正式、太强调了，尤其是第二句那个 no longer will I eat at this restaurant. No longer 感觉起来应该是你下定决心，我再也不要怎样怎样那种感觉，好，很强很强。所以你用 no longer will I eat at this restaurant， 感觉起来好像是我觉得拿大炮在打小鸟那种感觉，其实有点可爱，但就是太强了。Yeah.
All right. The way we would normally say it is, I'm never coming back here again. The food is awful. This is the way we would normally say it now, at least in my opinion, this is the way I would say it. I'm never coming back here again. The food is awful.
啊，所以英文会说 I'm never coming back here again 啊，这用现在进行式表示这是你已经决定的事情了，
是一个未来，对啊，
是未来，就你决定了未来我绝对不会再做这件事情的那种感觉。
OK， 要注意什么？
注意啊，那 no longer 哈 ，no longer 也可以等于 no more， 但是差别是用法不同。No more 哈，它使用的时候呢，通常放在句首啊。那后面用倒装句，因为开头是 no 否定词，所以后面要倒装。那 no more 也可以放在句尾啊，但是它不会放在句中。所以呢，像底下这个句它放在句中，所以是错的。英文不会这样讲啊，英文不会怎么讲呢？英文不会说 he no more loves the girl， 那不会这样讲，怪，非常非常怪啊。
You can, however, say he loves the girl no more, but it also sounds pretty literary, so you'll see the magazine says 少用。
Yeah， 好，所以你可以把 no more 放在句尾，但这个比较少用哈。He loves the girl no more， 这感觉好像在写诗一样。
And we have another rather rare and literary way to say it. No more does he love the girl. This is very dramatic and literary.
好，那你也可以把 no more 放在句首啊，但这个感觉起来很 dramatic 哈，这个戏剧性很强，好像是感觉起来啊，他再也不会爱这个女孩子的那种感觉。Yeah.
The last one gets a circle, and it is fine, but there's also a more common way to say it. This example is, he no longer loves the girl, which is fine.
好，那你可以说 he no longer loves the girl 哈，这个句子就没有问题了，很常见。
But the way we usually say it is, he doesn't love her anymore.
但最常见的是 he doesn't love her anymore.
Isn't that an awful thing to hear?
Yeah, 这句话听起来就很悲伤。
Yeah, we both could feel it. I could hear it and see it in you.
Yeah, he he doesn't love her anymore 啊，这是最常见的一个说法。
Because you know when you hear that, that's the end. There's nothing else to say. There's nothing you can do. You can't force him to stay, but he doesn't love her anymore. There's no point.
Yeah, 这个时候赶快就想办法怎么样 get over it 哈，赶快这个不要再让这件事情缠着你了啊，你要继续下去的，人生要继续往下走。
Yeah, just get out.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, we're going to talk about sometimes, one word, sometime, one word, sometime, 2 words, sometimes. We're going to talk about each one separately. We're going to start with sometimes, which is the easiest one. And watch out, pronunciation-wise, for the M's and the S sound in Z. Listen, it's sometimes. 不要说 sometimes. And that's what I hear a lot in Taiwan. 你那个 M 没有念出来，嘴唇要合在一起. So take your time with it. Pronounce every sound. And the S is pronounced as Z. So sometimes. Don't be lazy about it.
Yeah, 那2个 M 你的嘴巴都要把它闭起来哈 sometimes 啊，把它念清楚。好，那 sometimes 是这几个字里面最常用的啊，就是有时候啊，它是一个频率副词，因为它后面有个，你就这样想，后面有个 S 又是一个字，所以它跟频率有关，跟它次数有关嘛，所以会有 S 啊。所以这个 sometimes 它使用的时候通常放在句首啊，也可以放在句尾啊。例如说底下给我们这些例句。
All right. The first one is sometimes he comes here for a visit. That's great. Sometimes he comes here for a visit. Very colloquial. That's about equivalent to he comes here for a visit sometimes, which is also equally colloquial. It's just as good. He comes here for a visit every now and then, and that's more like 三不五时.
Yeah, every now and then 哈，这个类似中文讲的三不五时哈，那这个跟 sometimes 感觉有一点不太一样，因为三不五时比较不是重视它的频率，对，比较不是在强调那个频率也没那么高。
Yeah. Right, exactly. And then the last one here is, he comes here for a visit once in a while. Now, these are not equivalent. Now, never mind those equal signs. They are not equivalent. Sometimes, that makes it sound like it's fairly often, not regular, but somewhat often. And it's the same as he comes here for a visit sometimes. Sometimes he comes here for a visit. 它就是强调的程度可能有点不一样而已, but the meaning is about the same. He comes here for a visit every now and then. That's quite seldom. It's not very often. It's less often than sometimes. And then he comes here for a visit once in a while. That sounds like a little more than every now and then, not a whole lot more. So 它的频率其实不完全一样. Sometimes 是有时候. Every now and then, 三不五时. Now, once in a while 也差不多三不五时.
比较是偶尔.
Yeah.
Once in a while 比较接近偶尔.
Right, exactly. I'm going to add a couple more here for your reference. Usually is 通常. A lot of people have trouble distinguishing between often, sometimes, usually, occasionally. So, often is 常常. Sometimes is 有时候. Usually is 通常. Occasionally is close to once in a while. 偶尔会来一下. So, and also at times. At times it's like this, at times it's like that. Is 有时候这样子，有时候那样子. So make sure that you know the difference in frequency for all these words. And some of them are used in different kinds of contexts. Make sure that you know what's going on. If you're not sure, Google it with double quotes.
Yeah, 还有 sometimes 作为频率副词的时候，偶尔它可以放在主词的后面。例如你也可以说 he sometimes comes here for a visit 也可以的哈。
That's
所以
fine.
Yeah, 补充一下。
All right, so that takes care of A. Now we're going to talk about B, which is sometime with no space between the two syllables. It's just one word.
Yeah, 而且没有 S, 所以它跟频率没有关系。所以 sometime 它的意思是某时，你不知道什么时候，但是某时。所以它通常呢，它用在过去式或未来式，某个时间嘛，你不知道什么时候。那使用的时候通常会跟另外一个明确的时间副词或者是副词片语来搭配使用啊，我们看例子就知道了。
I saw him sometime yesterday morning. I'm not sure what time.
那个 yesterday morning 就是明确的时间副词，但前面加一个 sometime 就是这个昨天早上呢，不知道某个时候，不知道几点啊，这个见过他。
And I'll be there sometime tomorrow. That means anytime between 6 a.m. and 10:30 p.m. I might turn up. So I'm not sure what time, but it should be tomorrow. I'll be there sometime tomorrow.
那意思就是明天我会到那里去，但是呢不知道不确定什么时候啊，但是我会去的。那重点在这里，就我会去的，只是我不知道什么时候。
Usually it's I'll send you the article sometime tomorrow.
啊，对，我明天呢会把这个文章寄给你啊，但什么时候寄不确定。
Yeah, and it might be the morning of the day after.
Yeah, 有可能是这个第二天
后
天的清晨才寄，也不一定。Yeah.
Okay, that's it for today. Please tune in next time. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
拜拜。